This is Abdul Saad, clinical psychologist at Vital Mind Psychology here in Sydney, Australia. And today I come to you with a video on understanding the three types of empaths, or the three levels of functioning within the empath personality. So I wanted to clarify today in a more sophisticated form what I mean when I use the term empath in my videos, and how we can, in a more detailed way, delineate three, you can think of it as three different types of empaths, or three different levels of functioning within the empath. So let's begin. The first category, and again, this is occurring on a continuum. So although these are discrete categories, people aren't always going to be fixed on or functioning at one level all the time. So with stress, people can move up and down, but as people become more in the unhealthy pathological range, going into codependency, it becomes a lot more difficult to go back into a healthier level of functioning. So with the first level, which is the healthiest level of functioning for the empath, and at this level, this is what I call the authentic altruist. At this level, the empath has a very high level of self-awareness. They're very aware of their internal motivations. They're very aware of their limitations. And they have the freedom to either give or not to give. So at this level, the most psychologically healthy integrated level, the empath essentially recognizing that giving and helping is a conscious choice. It's not the default position. At this level of empath functioning as an authentic altruist, the empath also recognizes that in many instances, the best course of action is not to give, not to help, not to do anything, because in many cases, by intervening prematurely or not at the right time, or the person is not ready, the authentic altruist, being a realist and being very wise, recognizes that can have its own shortcomings and its own failings in terms of trying to help someone prematurely, or burning yourself out trying to help someone who actually is not receptive to being helped. Now, the key thing about the authentic realist, the empath functioning at this very high level, is that at this level, the empath is not attached to the outcome of their giving. At a spiritual level, the empath here recognizes that the act of giving is a free act. And what happens after I give is essentially, we could say, in God's hands. That the divine grace that permeates the universe will find its way to permeate into that person's life, to assist them, or it may not assist them, and that's fine. So the authentic altruist, the highly functioning empath, is not attached to a particular outcome, and therefore is not upset if their attempts at helping were unsuccessful or were not appreciated. It is a true act of divine grace, of divine giving. So the empath at this level has moved beyond the more narcissistic, egocentric tendency to attribute, to see themselves as the center of attention when it comes to giving, and if that really they are the core driver or mechanism of helping and giving and change. So this is a person who's very grounded, very self-aware, and a person who has worked on developing an exquisite awareness of their dark side, of their shadow, of their potential for manipulation, of their potential for egocentricity, and by confronting that shadow, by not telling themselves lies, has been able to transcend that and reach this position of the authentic altruist. Now, I would say that this takes a lot of work to get to this position, and I think not only therapeutic work in a conventional sense of talking therapy, but I think most people who reach this level have, in their own personal lives, entered into some sort of spiritual path, religious path, something that moves them beyond the five senses. So the second level of functioning, which is at the average level of functioning for the empath, is another category that I've termed the proud helper. Now, this is an intermediate level of functioning. So the person is not pathologically unhealthy, but we can start to see cracks appear in the way that they're functioning, and they're potentially setting themselves up for a move toward codependency. So the proud helper is essentially what we described as a good person, giving, generous of heart. And this person does have the genuine capacity to help and assist others. The fly in the ointment, as we might say for them, is that they view themselves to be at the center of that helping, that it's all about them, it's all about what they can do, it's all about what the other person needs, and their very well-developed capacity to understand and to know what other people need before others need them. So there's an egocentricity about the proud helper that the proud helper is not really that aware of, and engages in self-deception that makes it more difficult for them to sort of pull back, to not be on autopilot helping mode. And at this level for the proud helper, it could be helping in various ways. It doesn't have to be anything major, helping someone with their studies, helping someone do their grocery shopping, calling a friend, but at times without the insight of the internal motivation, the potential for pride, that can have negative consequences in terms of the helping for them and for the person that's being helped. And sometimes we have to use the word helped in inverted commas here. So secretly, at this level of functioning, this person, the proud helper, very often becomes resentful when their attempts to help are not appreciated, are not reciprocated, but they have, I guess, enough cognitive, mental, psychological resources to suppress that. But often that can manifest in terms of passive-aggressive behavior, as I said, resentment, etc. Now, at this level of functioning, the person, I would say, has a moderate level of psychological awareness. So if they find themselves at this level, that they still have a capacity to pull back, they still have some ability to read the signals and cues while they're at this level.